recipes making beef enchiladas as well as chili. And I'm talking homemade chili, no pre-made chili base, sauce, or seasoning pack, and nothing like that. Doing everything from scratch, including our enchilada sauce. The very first thing we're going to get done is chopping up all of our vegetables that you see in front of me. I've got bell peppers here, a red and a green, just for some color contrast, jalapenos, some green onions, yellow onions, and garlic. Now, starting with my bell peppers, let's get my lobes all sliced off. Discard these. I just want to get all of my peppers for everything I'm doing today diced. A small dice will suffice. Got that done. Now let's get these strips turned into proper dice. Any seeds you find in here are perfectly fine to stay where they are. Bell peppers are sweet peppers. It's not going to add any kind of additional heat. So make room on your cutting board as you go along. Just giving my peppers a good mix here so I have a nice blend of red and green. Dividing this in half so I have about 1 bell pepper's worth in each bowl. There. Next, onions. You've seen me dice these quite a few times. I'm still going to break it down for you. Getting our tops cut off, root always staying intact. Skin off. Great thing about onions, as we've probably all learned from Shrek, is that they have layers. So if you come across in the outer skin that's a little rotted, you can just peel down to the next layer. Don't have to worry about any of that. It all stays very localized. There we go. Starting with our horizontal cuts. Keeping these small for my chili, but as far as my enchilada sauce goes, again, it's going to be blended, so the finished product is what we need to be thinking about. You can dice it large, small, only cut the onion in half. Doesn't matter because it's going to get blended at the end of the day. There we go. Vertical cuts next. And I always follow this assembly line. Make the same cut on all my veg at the same time. Helps move just a little bit faster. Oh, here comes the waterworks. But we must keep cutting. It's okay to cry. Alright, got my onion all diced. Half of that is going to be for my chili, and a fourth of it is going to be for the sauce. The other fourth is going to be for the actual meat and inside of my enchilada. Let's get aside about 1 onion's worth. Half for my enchiladas, and the other portion for my enchilada sauce. Alright, I've got my onions squared away, sunglasses on inside because I'm still crying from the onions, and this is helping a little bit. So, moving forward, I've got jalapenos that I'm going to get minced. Now mind you, for your purposes, you can either omit jalapenos entirely or use more or less than I'm currently using. For this, I'm going to be using 2 jalapenos for the chili. 1 jalapeno is going to go into the enchilada, and another jalapeno is going to go into the enchilada sauce. Start by removing the tops and splitting these in half. And at this juncture, you want to decide whether or not you're keeping your seeds. That's extra heat. If you like heat like I do, keep it in. Otherwise, just take your thumb, scrape all of that out. And once you're done with your jalapenos, you're going to make sure you wash your hands very thoroughly. This may be a milder pepper, but it's still going to burn if you go to rub your eye. You don't want to have that feeling. Unless you do. I don't know your life. All my seeds out. Into the compost with you. And whatever remains on the board is just going to be there. My chili will be that much spicier and I will love it. Just like our bell peppers earlier, get these cut into strips. We're going to go much thinner here. Because we're mincing, you can easily run your knife over this several times and not be bothered with the really thin cuts. But I like to make this as quick as possible on myself. So cutting as thin as I possibly can. Once you get to these ends right here where you're not sure whether or not you're going to be able to cut it, feel free to just leave it as is. No need to endanger your fingers. Remember that claw technique, keeping those fingers curled in. There we go. If you want it finer than this, you can just run your knife over it. But I'm quite satisfied with that. And for my enchilada insides, I'm going to use the larger of my 2 jalapenos here. Again, never ever letting up on that claw technique. You can see here I can look directly into the camera, talk to you all day, and talk to you in the face. I'm not going to lose my fingers. Last jalapeno, I'm going to not bother mincing the way I have the others, just slicing these, because again, it's going in the enchilada sauce, which is going to get blended. And that's all she wrote on that. Let's get these sunglasses off. Hello. And my heat started for my chili. Starting on medium-high heat here. As always, get your pan hot before you add anything to it. Let that sit for a minute or 2, then go in with your oil. Alright, pan's hot and ready. Chili veg, olive oil. Just a little drizzle. Already smoking. Immediate sizzle. Now here I've got 1½ tablespoons of minced garlic. I'm going to commit half of that to my chili. And all this is going to saute and sweat in the pan until my onions begin to turn translucent. Once that's happened, we're going to get my ground beef added in. Alright, we've been sauteing for about 2 or 3 minutes here. My onion's translucent. And if you look in the pan here, I've got the makings of a fond on the bottom of the pan, that thin layer of what you think is burnt. All that is going to be flavor for our chili later. Now we're going to go ahead and get our ground beef in, 1 pound. Break that up very well. And as this meat continues to cook with our vegetables, we're going to get more fond development. And once we add our tomato to this, that's going to be some acid introduced. And all that acid is going to pull that fond off the bottom of the pan, permeate that flavor throughout the chili, and make it really delicious for us. Now at this point, we want to start seasoning our chili. So as always, start with some salt and pepper. Salt. You could crack some pepper. And earlier in front of me, you saw this spice blend here. I've got 2½ tablespoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of paprika, 2 teaspoons of cumin, and a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Again, the cayenne, the amount you add is completely optional and up to you. Either omit it or add less or more. Just know it's going to be more heat. I'm going to go all in with that. There we go. Already starting to become really fragrant. It may seem like a lot, but that's just how much chili powder it takes to impart that real chili flavor. Once coated, your meat should look like it's been cooked through, but we know the truth, it isn't. We've still got more to do here. So, adding in 1 can each, black beans and kidney beans. And these have been drained, so there's no extra fluid going in. Next, a can of fire-roasted tomatoes. Oh, come on, work with me. There we go. No piece like this in here. And tomato sauce, 1 can. Just like that, we've easily doubled the contents of this pot. It's about 2 times what we had in there. Very, very good, but we're still not done yet. Got 2 cups of beef stock to add in. I'm already cooking with beef. I'll use beef stock. You can add vegetable or chicken, but that just seems like the prudent idea. And my last item is going to be my thickener, because I don't like soupy chilies. I like them to be thick. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cornmeal. And cornmeal will cook just like grits do at home. The longer you cook, the thicker it's going to be. Alright, we've gotten everything mixed in. So we're just going to leave this to simmer for about 20 minutes on its own to bring the heat up. And as always, we've got our lid in hand. Cover that up. I'm going to reduce my heat to medium. Maybe just a little bit below. And now we'll get busy on our enchiladas, starting with the sauce. Small saute pan here, or saucepan. Getting this up on medium-high heat. We're going to wait for this to get hot, and we're going to, in here, caramelize the onions and jalapenos you saw me cut earlier, and last of that garlic. Pan's nice and hot, olive oil in. Again, about half an onion, 1 small jalapeno. Garlic. And now go ahead and stir this with my chili spoon. Using the same ingredients, same spices, same flavor profile, so it's all good. Now my onions, instead of just getting translucent, I want to develop some good deep caramelization on them. I want these to be a nice golden brown before they come out of the pan. And just kind of make sure I'm stirring that every so often and make sure I'm not burning my onions. I don't want char. Already we've got that bond developing on the bottom of the pan again. And have a really good enchilada sauce when this is all over with. These onions are going to go for about another 2 or 3 minutes until I got that golden brown delicious look to them. They're going to go into a blender with some tomatoes that I have set aside, spun together, and that's going to go back into the pot with a roux. Alright, I've got that caramelization I wanted. Got some nice golden brown on my onions here. Even my jalapenos are starting to turn translucent. Let's get that all in my blender here. And make sure you scrape this very well. You don't want any bits of onion still clinging to the pan, because all of our blended material is going to go back into the saucepan here. Kill the heat for now. Okay, onions and jalapeno all in my blender here. Adding to that 1 more can of fire roasted tomatoes. Oh, be cooperative. Handle can lids with care. They are very sharp. Don't do what you just saw me do. Grab a butter knife or something to lift that out. There. Lid on. Beware of any lingering sunglasses. Now blend this smooth. Blended. We're going to get about a cup of water added to this, just to thin it down some more, so we have a sauce that's going to cover all of our enchiladas. And also we're going to be, like I said before, cooking this with a roux. It's going to thicken. We don't want to get too thick. Just some more. And we're good. Back to our saucepan here, getting turned on to medium heat. In here I've got equal parts oil, olive oil, and flour, 2 tablespoons each. Let me get those added right in. And cook it for about a minute just so you get rid of that floury taste. And we've got another blend of spices here. Here I've got 2 tablespoons, or 2.5 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of dried oregano, a teaspoon of cumin, 2 teaspoons again of the paprika, and a teaspoon of cayenne. Again, add more or less to your taste. I'm going to add all that in here. It's going to be really thick, really grainy, but that's fine. We haven't added our liquid to it yet. Let's Just starting with a little bit, make sure I get everything whisked together very well. Once I'm confident everything's homogeneously whisked together, go ahead and add my rest. There we go. And this I'm going to simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes, just enough to pull and extract those flavors from the spices we just added. Nothing is complete without a little salt. And as I'm whisking, I'm feeling that fond come off the bottom of the pan, getting mixed into my enchilada sauce, and have some very, very good food at the end of the day. Now again, like I said, 5 to 10 minutes, going to leave that be, come back to it every minute or so to give it a whisk, make sure nothing's burning and sticking. Otherwise, we'll be waiting to move forward with our enchilada meat filling. Let's give this enchilada sauce a little taste. Oh yeah, very nice, very smoky. The only thing I'm going to add here is a little bit of salt. Another option, just to add a little bit of flavor depth and maybe cut into some of this heat you're getting, is a squeeze of lime juice, just a little bit of acid to balance those flavors. Or maybe if you prefer things to be a little sweet, add a little honey. We're going to kill the heat on this. Set aside. Taste once more. Oh yeah, that's where I want it to be. Now let's get our pan ready for more meat. Again, back to medium-high heat, letting our pan get hot. We are going to saute our vegetables first, followed by our meat, just like we did for the chili. Alright, let's get the lid off our chili here. It's been simmering for a good while, but I want to let some of that steam escape. Again, I added that cornmeal so it would thicken. It's not going to thicken if all that liquid is trapped in there and not going anywhere. So uncover that for the last few minutes of cook. In the meantime, I've got my pan here, hot and ready. My enchilada veg, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, olive oil. And these, again, just like our chili I did before, I'm sweating until my onion turns translucent. But we're not looking for that same fond development that we were before. I'm not making a sauce, I'm not making a soup or stew from this. So nothing like fond needs to develop on this pan. That double stir action. Alright, onions nice and translucent. 1 pound ground beef. Right in. Get that broken up nicely. Now this we're going to season with just salt and pepper. I know we've added a ton of chili powder, cayenne, etc. to other ingredients, but we don't want too much spice redundancy, meaning I don't want to just taste that chili powder flavor. So I want my meat to just be salt and pepper. Salt. I like black pepper, so I go a little heavy on it. I'm just getting this, keeping this on the heat until our beef is cooked through. Once that is cooked through, we're going to add one last can of black beans to this to bulk it up just that bit more, and we'll be done and ready to actually roll our enchiladas. While my meat here finishes up, I'm going to take these green onions and get some ring slice out of these. They've just been sitting in front of me all this time. I'm going to start by just removing the less hot looking tips of them. You can cut your rings thin or wide, doesn't really matter. You're slicing down to where that green starts to transition into white. At this point, you can either save your green onion stems, that's still usable, just don't use the root. That's all just very mild onion flavor, works just like onion. Use it interchangeably. Keep this set aside. Chili's at about the consistency I'm wanting. Gonna go ahead and kill the heat on that. Keeping in mind that as it cools, it'll also continue to thicken. That guy's ready to go. And I've seen the last bit of pink fade from my beef. Gotta get my black beans added on in here. Again, strained. And I'm just going to keep this on heat for about a minute or two, just enough to heat the beans. And then we'll get rolling on enchiladas. Alright, rolling on enchiladas. Now we're going to do this very similarly to when we made quesadillas, and that we're not going to want to add a lot of filling here. Again, this is going to get rolled up, so we want to make sure that we're not filling out the entire width of the tortilla, otherwise anything can possibly spill out either end. So keep it tight, keep it minimal. In this, you can add cheese to the center. I'm going to omit and just keep cheese on the top. Again, if you want to, that's for you to decide. But I care about you and your bowel movements and don't want you over cheesing. I'm putting these all in the pan, seam side down, so they don't unroll or unfurl as they're cooking. There. With our pan filled up. Just pour enchilada sauce right over top. And topped with cheese. And just for a little garnish and color, sprinkle on some of those green onions. And now we're ready to go into the oven. Got my oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. You don't have to worry about getting anything cooked all the way through. Everything here is already cooked. We're just melting the cheese. So about 5 to 10 minutes max is all you need, just melting the cheese. Let's go in. Cheese is all good and melted. Enchiladas out. Beautiful. Just gonna hit those with a little more green onion. Instagram pretty. Alright guys, thank you very much for joining us. Again, I'm Chef Mark. This has been Cooking with Ken. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any ideas for what to see next for us, put those down in the comments. In the meantime, I've been blowing my nose all day and I'm probably going to continue to. We'll see you next time. There we go. Show just the way I like it. A little bit thicker, not soupy, almost a stew consistency. More scallions.